The desert wind whispered secrets across the canyon as the sun melted into red dust. Somewhere between the dying light and the rising stars, a young woman named Clara Mae stumbled upon something she was never meant to see. She had ridden farther than her father's ranch boundaries, following a wounded horse into the canyon where the earth seemed to hum with life. Her pale blue dress was torn by thorns, her hands covered in dust. But what she found beneath that half-collapsed cliff would change her forever. There, surrounded by sacred symbols carved into stone, knelt Kane, the last warrior of a vanished tribe. He wasn't supposed to exist, at least not here, not now. His hair, long and dark as midnight, gleamed with sweat, his chest bare beneath the fading glow. Around him burned a circle of faint blue fire, something that flickered between smoke and light. Clara froze. She should have turned back, but curiosity, no, something deeper, held her still. Kane looked up sharply, eyes blazing like embers. "You shouldn't be here," he said in a low, calm voice that carried the weight of 1,000 storms. "You've seen what no outsider is allowed to see." Clara's breath hitched. I didn't mean to," she stammered, stepping back, heart pounding. But he rose to his full height, towering yet calm, his every movement filled with purpose. "Do you know what this means?" he asked. She shook her head, trembling. "It means," he said softly, stepping closer, "that you know my secret, and by my people's law, that binds you to me." His words struck her harder than any gunshot. She didn't understand, but his tone, half anger, half fate, made her heart tremble. He told her the truth that night as the fire died down. Kane was not entirely of this world. He was the last guardian of the spirit fire, a sacred flame that kept his ancestors' souls connected to the land. The fire's light gave him strength but cursed him with solitude. No outsider had ever seen it and lived. Yet here was Clara, innocent, wide-eyed, fearless in her curiosity. She had broken the boundary between two worlds, and now both their fates were tied. "You belong to me now," he said again, but softer this time, like a confession. "Not as a possession, but as a bond written by the old laws of my people. Your soul touched the sacred flame and it chose you." For hours they spoke beneath the starlight, the canyon echoing with whispers of wind and spirits. Clara learned that Kane had hidden himself away for years, protecting the last remnants of his tribe's legacy from those who would destroy it. She listened, spellbound. There was something in his voice that made her chest ache. A sadness too deep to name. By the time dawn stretched over the rocks, the girl who had come chasing a lost horse had found something far greater, a purpose she didn't yet understand. When she finally returned to her ranch, she could still feel the warmth of that fire under her skin. Days passed, but she couldn't forget. She dreamed of him, of the fire, of his words, "By my people's law, you belong to me." It wasn't a threat. It was destiny, and as strange as it sounded, she felt it too. Something had awakened inside her, something ancient and alive. The land began to call to her the way it called to him, and though she tried to ignore it, the bond grew stronger. One night, when a storm rolled across the plains, she saw the same blue fire flickering on the horizon. Without hesitation, Clara mounted her horse and rode back into the canyon. She didn't know that by doing so, she would ignite a chain of events that would test love, fate, and the very line between worlds. Rain fell in silver streaks as Clara reached the canyon, breathless and soaked. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating the same sacred place where it had all begun. Kane stood there, the spirit fire burning wild and untamed behind him. His eyes widened when he saw her. "You shouldn't have come back," he said, his voice both tender and fierce. "The storm is not just weather, it's a warning." But Clara stepped closer, her voice shaking. "I can't stay away. I don't understand what's happening to me, but I know it began with you." Kane's jaw tightened. "The flame chose you," he said slowly. "It marked you as mine, not in chains but in spirit. You feel it, don't you? The pull between us." She nodded. The wind howled, the earth trembled, and the fire danced higher, wrapping them both in its glow. "Then listen," he whispered, placing a hand over her heart. "It's calling you because the flame is dying. The bond between my people and this land is fading. Only you can help me restore it." Clara's heart raced. "How?" she asked. "By giving yourself fully," he replied. "By walking into the fire with me. If we do it together, it will live again, but if we fail, it will consume us both." She looked into his eyes and saw not fear, but faith. For one breathless moment, the world went silent. Then she nodded. Then let it burn, she said. Together they stepped into the circle of blue fire. The flames didn't hurt. They felt alive. Wrapping around them like 1,000 whispers, she saw flashes of Kane's past, his people dancing under starlight, his mother singing, his home before it was lost. Then she felt her own memories merging with his. In that instant, she understood what the bond truly meant. Not possession, but unity. The fire linked their souls not by law, but by love. When the storm cleared, the fire burned steady once again. Glowing brighter than ever, Kane fell to his knees, exhausted but alive. Clara knelt beside him, her hand finding his. The light in his eyes softened. "You've done it," he murmured. "You've become one of us." She smiled through tears. "Then by your people's law," she whispered back, "you belong to me too." From that day on, the legend of the spirit fire spread across the plains. Some said they saw two figures walking the canyons at dusk, a man and a woman, bound by something greater than life or death. But those who truly listened to the wind heard the truth, that love, when forged in fire, never dies.